You would think I would have learned by now, don't you? But nah. Hello everybody, just give me a little minute so I triple check that this is working. Cause today I'm on my own. Simply because most of my co-hosts haven't even woken up. And I don't blame them. It's Sunday everywhere in the world. Therefore it's sleep-in or sleepover day. I would do so, but my it's afternoon here, so hey, I should have been up by now. Okay, let's see if I can get to here. Get to here. Okay, I should have been up by now. And we're out. Good. Let me do things right because yeah, I had plans to don't show this shot and go straight to the working bench, but sorry, I can't do it. I think it's impolite just to be a voice in off camera and don't introduce myself. And welcome you all that you've come to see whatever I have on store. So all of you, welcome to Six Oscillators, where guitars and synthesizers collide. If you came 2 days ago, Friday, for the traditional first Friday of every month live stream, and I promised that I would try to install a divided hexaphonic pickup into a bass guitar, which is in fact is called GK-3B, B for bass, and on a multi-scale guitar, which I do have, and that was my plan, but we found out that no, there's not enough room in my particular multi-scale guitar because the pickups and the bridge are too close together. So in order to do so, I would have to modify one of the saddles. Luckily it's just one because they're individual saddles, blah blah. Come on, go and watch last Friday's stream. It's fun. We had a lot of comments and a lot of fun together. But as I said on the live stream, I need this pickup installed because I need to get ready for a gig in roughly a month time, 5-6 weeks tops. So I need to do it. Obviously, yesterday because I already had a hunch that it might not fit, so I prepared a backup plan, which is basically a different guitar. Still 5-string because that's kind of my middle ground. That's where I find myself more comfortable. Because let's face it, most other people's music is written for a 4-string bass guitar, sorry. And most metal, which is kind of my bag, or at least the bag I want to jump into from now on and for the rest of my days, are written for tunings that you could achieve with a 5-string. Sadly, I'm a little too old in the tooth, so I don't really get acquainted with drops, and I do manage transposition, as in get the whole guitar, tune it down, because everything is kind of in the same place, but I can find myself by ear. But the drop tuning stuff breaks my brain. Because I never practiced it. I never came across it until it was a little too late, as in now. So I don't really like it. So I'd rather just have a B tuning, so everything that is drop C, drop D, drop D, drop C, even drop B if you wish, I can achieve with my low B, and then just move the hand where it should be. It gets a little jumpy in some songs, but not really. And since I kind of took the decision of try my best not to do covers ever again. I've done it too many times, one too many times, or more like 20 too many times. So I said, okay. But then I bought the 5-string, the multi-scale, and I discovered, because it did allow me to try it, I discovered F#0, which is basically what a 8-string guitar would have on the bottom string. But I did, or a 7-string bass guitar would have, I guess, put in an extra bottom. But once again, my fingers are only this long, so those, I don't know, house beam size necks don't really suit me, so I need something narrower. And since I still don't see the point on having all the notes, I rather just skip notes, skip strings. So basically, I take a 5-string and I tune it like if it was an octave down on a 8-string guitar, F# to D, because I'm skipping G. I'm missing that one, and I love that one. But because the way I did it, instead of having my nut recut and everything reset neck, I just wing it and put my standard B gauge string, B tuning strings. I just tune it down a whole fifth, all of the strings a whole fifth. That way you end up having the F#, B, E, A, D. And I loved it. I love the tone of it. I love the growl. I love the earth shaking sensation. Plus, many of the latest modern metal bands are going that direction. And I said, okay, the point of putting the GK-3B into the 5-string was, okay, I don't want to recut the nut, as in put in a new nut and getting way thicker strings. So what about if I put it back, I tune it back up to B, and try the GR55 capability of changing the tuning digitally, as in by DSP processing, pitch shifting in a way. But then last night we discovered that it would not fit, but very little, and that I wasn't about to change the position of the saddle to make it fit, which would have mean unscrew the old saddle, find the right placement, respecting it's really delicate, and I'd rather have a professional to do it. So I said, okay, I'm not gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is gonna take one of my spare 5-strings and put it there, which is in fact kind of even more interesting for the purpose of digitally dropping the fifth. All the strings are fifth down, because this is a standard 34-inch scale. And on that note, last night I misspoke. I was on the understanding that my 5-string bass guitar was a 27-inch long on the bottom, on the B, what is meant to be the B tuning string. I measured it. No, it's not. In fact, it's really weird, because it's 34.5 on the thin string, which is meant to be your G string for all bass players. The G string is already half half an inch longer, but I've never noticed the extra tension on that one. Go figure. But it only goes from 34.5 to 36.5. That's why the fanning on my frets, I said fanning, they're not fan frets, they're multi-scale, because fan fret is copyrighted by Dingwall. It's kind of light. It's not really extreme like you see some Dingwalls. Even the 4-string, you see the net, that the nut is almost, if this is the neck, is almost horizontal, because Dingwalls go to 27. But I think they even start in 33.5. Don't quote me on that. Could be just playing 34 to 37. So 3 actual inches difference between your shortest and your longest. I don't know how the handle around if you want to have a 6-string, because still 6 strings is still B to C, so you're still not going below the B0 string. So I don't know if guitars intending to go to F sharp 0, they give it an extra inch, because 27 is meant to be ideal for B. So to go down the 5th, you might need an extra inch. I don't know. I don't think it's plausible. I'll find it out someday. So what I'm gonna do today is just take one of my 34-inch 5 strings. In fact, this one, which is a bass guitar I love. We're gonna double check again, but I think yesterday we measured is a 17mm string spacing at the bridge, but the neck is pretty much of the nut is pretty much on the jazz bass ethos, because it's quite narrow. That for my short fingers makes it very, very comfortable and very easy to use, and going down is just spreading a little more. I don't know, the ergonomy of this guitar I love. It's not a high-end guitar. I don't have high-end anything, but it does the job. It sounds pretty good, and it costs what I can afford, which is pretty little compared to what any other 5-string guitar would ask of you. So let's get to it. Enough of my japping. So I'm gonna jump camera. Don't get dizzy, because I got this other view, and if I do this, we get up to it. So no more showing my face, just my voice. Follow the soothing tone of my voice. I did my best to get the lights together, but they don't seem to want to play ball. So here where I am, I can see most everything significantly good. Let me know if you can't, and I might be able to redo some shots or redo the, well, I'll try to edit it and post edit it on the channel at a later date. So we did a bunch of steps already yesterday before we basically ran out of time. So I'm just gonna go quickly. I'm gonna catch you up. Obviously, I unpacked the blister packaging where the pickup came, to show you. That's where it comes. And once you have taken all the parts and all the little baggies and little extras, we don't really need this anymore. Sorry for the bang. But we will need this, because there is these little lines right here. It's measuring guide to tell you the spread of your strings. Okay, why is that important? Because there is an adjustment on the actual pickup. So this is what it comes in the box. All right, it's a hexaphonic divided pickup, which for the bass version they decided not to show the pole pieces and covered the whole pickup into one plastic chassis. The the union cable, obviously, to get from the pickup to the control unit. Okay, this is your control unit. In case you have never seen one, I can tell you already, it's fully plastic, pretty empty. There's nothing but connectors, wires and switches here. I don't even think there might be a PCB, probably for the switches, just to mount the parts on them, and then it's sandwiched into two pieces of PVC. I assume comes with your 13-pin connection. I'm twisting the wrong. Yes, okay, that's the 13-pin, and your 1/4" to connect your guitar and send your pickup signal down the 13-pin cable. So there's only one cable, albeit not very flexible, at least not the one that Roland provides, to link you, to tether you from the guitar to the floor unit, in this case, in my case, GR55, or rack unit, or every other type of GK 13-pin technology base plug-in thingy bob. Because every setup is different. What we have, the controls we have in the control unit, which will at a later date, at a later point, be more apparent, and I will go deeper into explaining, is your source selection, or yes, let's call it source selection, because this switch, what it does is send the GK, as in, it's going to be a lot of bangs and things, as in the hexaphonic pickup source of voltage, of audio, audio vibrations, air vibrations converted through the magnetic pickups in this pickup, 6 of them, right? Hence the hexaphonic or splitted pickup name, down the cable in this position. In the base, because it says, okay, I can see that, yeah, sorry, I'm using webcams, therefore the resolution and the focusing is non-existent. So on the base position is basically sending the 1/4" signal. They provide you with a cable, which is 1/4" TRS, both ends, opposite to what the GK2 used to have, where the connection getting into the control unit was a 1/8" TS tip sleeve. I was thinking, is it the S or the R? No, it's the S. Is the sleeve. It's tip and sleeve. Okay. Obviously, this is meant to. Yeah, I can tell you it's going to be a ton of those. Sorry in advance. And that's the way you send your traditional pickups from your guitar down the same cable to the unit to do so. And that's why there is a selector. So down on the bass position, on the bass position down there, it would be this source of sound. On the upper position, it would be this source of sound, this pickup. On the middle, you send both, and then you let the brain, the connecting device, take the decision of what is it going to be processing and how is it going to be using it. Okay. This patch cable I will modify because it doesn't need to be modified. Okay, it's just personal preference. I don't like cables poking like this on my guitars, so I'm gonna trim the also it gets very long, it's a little too dangly and long, so I'm gonna trim the excess and solder an angle connection so the cable would just come a little flatter towards the unit. All that is just personal taste and preference. Makes no difference to the use of the pickup, right? So once again, the string spreading guide, what is it for? Contrary to the guitar version of the divided pickup by Roland, this one has no setting on the curve, on the radius, as in this profile, this radius is fixed on the bass version, when on the guitar it has one in the middle has a setup, very tiny screw to give more arc to the pickup, so they will follow more precisely or closer to the strings to respect the ideal pickup to string distance that the manual states. But what we have, they decided to change it because what we have more variant on bass guitars is about string spacing, which is this gap in between one string to the next. As I said, this bridge is on the jazz bass side of spacing, as in it's quite wide, tapering down to a narrower nut. But things like Rickenbackers have, I think Rickenbacker, according to this guide, I'm gonna go and guess that Rickenbacker is gonna be a 16 mil spread, and I don't know, possibly a jazz bass or something more like the 6-string Ibanez that they built for Thundercat, which is, at least it looks, even on him, which is a big boy, they look really far away from each other. I would assume that's a 19 mil. If we measure here, let's do it right away. The way to do so is to slide this cardboard piece under your strings, trying your best to align this straight line, this common line to all gauges. Try to align it with one of your strings. I'm not sure, it needs to be the bottom, so you can read. I think it makes more sense to put it this way, and then by approximation, which one would be the one matching the best. And although it is not bang on, I'm gonna say that the one matching the best, the one that actually is this gonna be, yeah, professional lighting, my foot, no, not really. So what would be the option? This goes out of range. No. You would say, oh, but turn off the lights because you have too much light. Well, you would bump into things in this room with the little light I'm using. I don't know why these webcams have tons of light gain, so I assume that designed for night use. I don't know. Just take my word for it. Taking in consideration, this ruler is designed for a 6-string bass guitar, and I'm just applying a 5-string. The one that is more close to it is the second one, which is the 17 mil spread. That is significant, and let's do it right away so everything makes sense and we don't need to do this again. Because, okay, and here is when it's gonna get really tricky. Or is this gonna be, it's slightly better, yeah. I'm using the paper manual today. Yesterday I was using a PDF copy, which you can see way clearer because I couldn't set it up. Right, so let's see, are you gonna focus? Are you gonna, okay, you don't like it like this. Okay, sorry, let's do this. Told you it would be a bunch of bungles. Sorry, let's do it right, shall we? So let me check so you can see it properly, so at least you know what the heck I'm talking about. It's just I'm going to find the PDF version so you can read what the heck am I doing. So prepared? Who said prepare? Prepare is for sissies. Hello? Where are you? Here. I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there, I'm getting there. Let's do this. Let's do this. Getting there, getting there, getting there. Oh, come on. I can do better than this, can I? No, not really. Alright, so let me show you what am I talking about. I'm talking about this. Da-da-da-da. There we have it. Let me go. Oh, this should be okay. So here you can see in this here in this side section of the pickup on the right of the screen that you have mechanically inside the casing. The pickup is divided like in two groupings of 3 pickups. Okay. Once again, remember hexaphonic stands for 6 times 1 pickup. So you're meant to loosen the screw, and this little plastic lever, you have to, it has 4 detenting stops, 4 detenting positions, and then you have to match that spread to the reading that you got from the gauge, which in our case would be 17, which would be the second from the center of the pickup in both ends. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And do this, and back to it. Okay, so I don't think we're gonna need this anymore. So out of the way, and let's do the setup of the pickup, just because we're here. This is, except for a spring that flew away yesterday, and I couldn't find it in the ground on the floor of my studio yet. This is everything that was provided with the pickup, hardware-wise, and all will make sense any minute now when we get to it. Okay. They also have the detail to give you a nice, very small screwdriver, which I suggest you use for just a very simple reason. The smaller the shaft of any screwdriver, the harder it is to apply too much tension, torque, or force to whatever you're screwing. So I suggest you use this, so when your finger tied with this screw, it will not break any of the threads or the pickup itself. So let's do the first one. Let's see if this camera is gonna be able to show you. This is what we're gonna be meddling with. Once again, I'm doing all the spins wrong. No, it's not this. Good. I'm sorry for that. So that little divot white, that's the lever we're gonna be moving, and that screw on top of it is the one we need to release first. Make it, don't take it out, but make it loose enough, and then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. According to the graph, that comes in the, I assume, I said we wouldn't need it again. How wrong was I? So I assume it comes set up on the widest spread on both ends, which is the 19 mil spread of string spacing. Okay, so let's put this safe. I can't afford to lose any more of these bits. Right, so that's what you're gonna do. Go for the screw. Gently but firmly loosen just enough. And remember, we want the second position from the other end. Alright, so from this end we want the second position, which is okay. Feels a little feisty, so I'm going to loosen a little bit more. Okay, that should be able. Now it's moving. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, to help you, the plastic divot, I just touched it by accident, has a second twin end, so you could grab both and do the movement. And that is okay. Well, this doesn't talk too good about Roland manufacturing quality, because the paint under the screw has chipped off right away. There is that. So seems like it's getting hard to get to the right spot. A little looser. Yeah, I would expect, or I did remember, that these things, I think I can see a spring, can I? Well, it feels a spring loaded, as in I'm tensioning in spring. That's why it wants to go back to the beginning all the time, or at least to the middle. So yeah, I was expecting it to be stepped, detented, but it's not. It's just a free form. So I'm gonna try to eyeball it to align. Sorry, I can show you better. Now clip it in place hard enough so I got time to tighten the screw. Obviously we're still talking about a magnetic pickup, and we're still talking a bass guitar which the amount of metal is vibrating at a given time is massive. So if it's not back on the center of the string, trust me, no, but it's not gonna matter whatsoever. Still, you want to do it to prevent cross-talk in between the pickups, as in the string. Let's say you're vibrating the string 1 and the spreading is so off that it's starting to give signal to pickup number 2. That is going to be crosstalk if you do any work with divided MIDI channels, because you could divide at least 55 give you 2 options, all the strings in the same MIDI channel or a different MIDI channel per string. It still lets you decide which one kind of MIDI channel you want per string. Said kind of because you can choose where to start assigning MIDI channels, as in if you have 5 strings, you can do that this is 1, therefore 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can decide that this is 6, therefore 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? You cannot say, oh, I want 1, 3, 9, 12, and 16. No, 55 does not allow to do that. I can't remember if my Accent TerraTech can do that, because it's been 2 years since I don't use it. 2 or more years, in fact. I'm getting this loose enough. and the same process, and yeah, the paint is also chipped in this end. Funny, huh? Just give me a second, because I want to do this as well, so I don't twist my neck too much. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Right, okay. Same thing, grab both ends of both ends, this one and this one, and pull it until it's roughly there. I'm holding on the screw just to check that the alignment is good enough. Now I'm gripping again, hoping it won't move while I tighten the screw. Okay. I don't remember losing it this much. Just a double visual, it's a 1/10 of a mil off, but this will have to do. Now, just because I'm weird this way, I want to have an extra oomph on the tightening so it doesn't go loose on its own just because by using it. But still, use these screwdrivers, so because I could have one of these puppies with a normal long shaft and I could basically strip it off. We don't want that, trust me. So let me just follow the instructions, and now, because now it's talking about we do adjusting the divider pickup, attaching the divider pickup. First thing it does is tell you how is the positioning of the pickup is, and so the divider pickup must be installed in the correct orientation. Make sure that the cable from the divider pickup is extending from the bridge side. Huh. How so? Why? So it's telling about the orientation of the pickup. So wants you to install the pickup this way with the cable looking at the bridge, which I don't understand why. Because unless I'm confused, God, I can't remember. Trust me, I've already done this on my zinc string, but it was 5 years ago. Therefore, what memory? And it's telling me, because I know the guitar, you can choose the direction of the pole pieces, as in, let's go one in the first string or one in the sixth string. But on the guitar version, the cable comes from one end. That's why you want the cable over your bridge, or you want the cable under your bridge. This one, it's saying that you don't have the option. How close and what direction? I don't get it. Because obviously, if they make another point, install the divider pickup close to the bridge. In any case, do not install the pickup more than 50 millimeters, same as 5 centimeters, away from the bridge. Just because I'm stupid, and some of you might not understand or don't have enough headspace to talk centimeters, I'm gonna try to go for inches. as soon as I can find my conversion app on my phone, like we all do. Come on, face it, we all do this. So it's asking a 50 millimeter gap on a very specific way. I'm going to show you in a minute, which is 131 32s or 1.97 inches. Yeah, that's why they don't say it in inches. Jeez, I really, obviously sorry, I understand that if you learn this when you're a child, everything makes sense, but to me it's like, oh my god, this is really, really hard. So obviously you can't see it's light, but the graphs. Okay, let me see if I can manage this, because I'm suffering for you. Okay. This is bad. So now, as you can see, we're talking about, that is the center. That's very easy to explain, but this is what is baffling me. Okay, let's see again what is happening. Yeah, it's talking about where the cable should go. Okay, a little more centered. Where the cable should go. I don't really like it because it puts a lot of restraint on this cable, and this cable is, I believe, is 12 wires, multi-core inside, so I don't really like it. Also, it's talking about the choice it gives you is if you want to have, I think, and this is something against it. They divide the pickup, it's not right. Okay. Because now we're talking just about this distance, this gap. Sorry. Yeah, this program is silly. I cannot. Can I? No, I cannot. Sorry, I cannot show the manual and the cameras in the same screen. Silly. So, we're talking about this gap, right? And they ask us to move the pickup. Let's put it on 1 to 0. It's in male. What is the distance we're looking for? We're looking for the center of the pickup. Okay. Okay. So the center of the pickup to the point of contact with the string with the saddle. This is in this guitar is a little confusing because the head of the bridge of the saddle is not the point of contact in this saddle particularly. The point of contact is more like here. Okay. Let's try to move this. Okay, is 1 or 2 mils farther in the saddle. So you're measuring from that point to the middle of the pickup, and for that they give us getting there. Oh, come on. Yeah. Wait, this is no, this is millimeters. Yeah, it's it's a lot. Can I get something that looks more like actually 50 millimeters, right? So I get this much room to put my pickup away, so it's not gonna need that much on any of the saddles, because that's already where my bridge pickup is, right? So anywhere in between that space is good enough, at least for 55. Now I need to decide what to do with the cable. As I said, I don't really like squishing the cable here, but what can you do? So I'm gonna take an executive decision and decide that I'm not gonna press, like I probably did with my other guitar, the cable against the bridge. I'm gonna let it live, and since I have tons of space available, like I showed you before, I'm just gonna make it flat, flush-ish with the other pickup, a little less, so if in case I need to move or tilt or do whatever work on the magnetic pickup, on the, let's call it single pickup, because this is 6 pickups, hexa. This should be one. I don't know. Can't remember Latin for one. Right. So the step I didn't show because it's kind of very explanatory. As I said, I'm very sorry, but I can see very little, and this is precision work that we're gonna be doing right now. So I hope the cameras can take it. I need more light, basically. So the centering of the pickup is weird like this. All right. Remember, this is a hexaphonic pickup. It's 6 elements inside, because the GK pickup was designed for guitars, 6-string guitars, back in the day, mid-90s, late 90s possibly. Well, mid-90s I think for the GK2, probably early noughties or mid-noughties for the GK3, can't remember. Please Google it. So they decided to do, when they decided to do a bass version, probably by popular demand or whatever, they didn't want to redesign the whole system. So they kept the same control unit, the same cable, they just modified the pickup itself. And since everything it's already based on 6 elements, and back in the late noughties there was already, back in the late 90s there was already a bunch of nutcases like me that would already using 5-string and 6 strings. They said, okay, then let's don't change anything and do a hexaphonic pickup for bass. Means 6 elements, means 6 strings. That's why they favor in this pickup for positioning and measuring, and all you got to do is this middle line. If you see, there's a little groove right in the middle of the pickup, because that way they can kill 3 birds with 1 stone. If you have a 4-string bass, okay, so forget about this string. If you have a 4-string bass, your pickup goes between, on standard tuning, would be strings A, wait, A and D, A and D, because you would have E, A, D, G, the strings. So that bar goes in the middle of A and G. A and D. Jesus, it's not that hard, come on, right? So what happens if you have a 5-string? They said, nothing, do the same. Put the middle of the pickup between A and D. That's why we have this not too pretty overhang of the pickup, because that's the element reserved for the 6-string bass guitar, for the C string on a 6-string C guitar, bass guitar, right? But your measuring and your centering point is that bar in the middle, okay? So that is the sideways position of this pickup, yeah, more or less. Just pin it more or less so it doesn't really move. Luckily for me, it doesn't really change. Yeah, it's gonna be extra awkward, but not impossible, because this is, in this guitar, this is actually my volume. So this is the potentiometer I'm moving the most, if I'm moving any. But not a deal breaker. So now that we have the sideways position, okay, let's get the second thing we can do with strings attached, which is, and let me get this right, the height of the pickup. Because one of the little things it gets provided to you, and trust me, it's really, really useful, is this little puppy. Okay? It's a gauge, it's a measuring gauge, which are very specific width, which is meant to be used as such as so. Okay, can you see? Basically to measure how far away, let me see, yeah, I need how far away, well, because it's a magnetic pickup, this is a piece of steel, I'm lifting the whole pickup, but you can hear between those two sounds there's a time, meaning it's too low, it's too great of a gap between the top of the pickup and the bottom of the string. Obviously, to do this setting right now we're gonna do, you need to be settled on your guitar settings, as in tuning needs to be good enough, close enough, so that the string is not bouncing down, as in it's resting towards the table, giving you a false impression of the distance. The height of your strings need to be settled the way you like it. Leave it there, that's good. Obviously, because neck relief and fret buzzing avoidance here's a sentence. It's something you want. We all want. We don't want all the time. Just a little bit. Just sometimes. So this would be the first setting up that you would have to do. For instance, let's say, like I did with my guitar, with my 6-string normal guitar. I expressly bought a guitar I have never used before to install the hexaphonic pickup into it. So I first had to get acquainted with the guitar, get used to it, get the guitar set up to my liking and my preferences, and then I was able to install the hexaphonic. The other difference is on the guitar, because body to string distances is slightly bigger, albeit because the strings are thinner. Therefore there's more room to get to them, and guitar hardware, it's also slightly higher compared to a bass guitar, and the guitar, the GK2, the GK3, the guitar version, the pickup itself, it's also smaller, it's slightly smaller, and as in not so tall from the body to the strings. Great. So in my case, I'm a little too far. Obviously, you're meant to check if you have any type of arc on your saddles. You're meant to check all the strings. So I got tons of empty room here. Not so much down here, which is gonna be interesting. I do put a little bit of arc to it, so I might have to find a compromise, because my spacing here, down here in this string, is not as big as the rest of the strings. Okay, let's go and prove interesting. So now that I get a knack for it, more or less what am I dealing with. So how would you compensate for that? That's when, once again, keep it there, stay there, you get all this, not this, okay, this is another thing I want to make clear today. I didn't remember what this piece of foam is for. This is not meant for the pickup, this is meant for the control unit, okay? Because one of the things that they were made aware, probably on GK2, is that, oh, some types of cushioning or some types of material or no material whatsoever will damage the finish of my guitar. I don't want that to happen. So GK3 comes not only with installation shims, but also with foam, neoprene style foam padding, which I don't think this is a nitro, but I hope it's not going to interact with this paint. Not that I matter if it gets slightly damaged. I call it battle scars. I kind of like it when it happens organically. But I don't want the foam to rotten or shed stuff all over the place. So this is a couple of extra padding, and this is just a bunch of different gauge shims in case you decide to stick it / glue it the pickup to the guitar. Yeah, you got tons of them, not because you're meant to use them all, but so you have very minute options to do the shimming. Just to start discarding, I'm gonna try, because this is gonna be basically, well, trial and error. Yeah, let's do trial and error. I'm gonna start with the thickest, because I don't think these I'm gonna need. So let's just try it. Obviously, before you peel anything, don't peel anything yet. We're gonna do just testing and trying and see how far we go. So yeah, yeah. This is not the option, because this is it. This is leaving no gap whatsoever to the strings. I can't even put the shim into it. Okay, right? So this one is discarded. This is not gonna work. And getting this out is also not gonna work. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can, because A, I don't want to scratch my guitar unnecessarily, and B, because why should I be more rough to it? There's no meaning. So these two, because they give you two, well, again, God knows why, big shims, and they're gonna be no use for this particular guitar the way I like it setting up. So let's get the second thicker, which I think they give you multiples of each measure. So the second thicker, let me see, there's kind of bill of materials of what comes included at the beginning of the section in the manual. We showed that last night. So yeah, you get 2 3mm spacers, 5 1mm spacers, 4.25 mm spacers, so a quarter of a mil, and where are the thick ones? Oh no, yeah, the 3mm, that's the thick one I just tried. That's not gonna happen. So it's 5 and 4. So 5 1 mils and 4 quarter mils. Cool. Which is gonna be this. So it makes sense that 5 of them look identical to me. It's also kind of easy to distinguish the thickness because of how flexible they are. Obviously, the thicker, the less flexible. So yeah, that's my 4 1/mils. Stay there. And this is gonna be my 5 4/mils. Is it? Huh, this one looks thicker. Or is the other way around? That's my 5 1/mils. Yeah, 5 1/mils and 4 4/mils. Right, so let's try a 1 mil, which is obviously not enough. Okay, we can triple check if we need to. The way you're measuring is by setting, because it's an L shape, okay? So setting the jig flat on the pickup and sliding it as flat as you can, and if putting it under the, let me show the other way because that's what the camera is. So you slide it. No, I'm covering even more. Great. How am I doing this? Right, so let's see this. So you set it flat on the pickup and you slide it underneath, and then you either can lift and see if there's any room underneath, which in this case is very little, or when you slide it, into the groove, you might feel that the string moves and you can hear the metal against metal. If you can hear the rubbing of the jig against the strings, but the string doesn't move up, that is your ideal setup, which here it's not yet for my lowest string, which is going to be my G string. Is a G string. So this is still a tad, I would say a quarter mil. So I'm going to do that. I got my 1 mil set, gonna slide a 1/4 mil underneath. Okay. Gonna measure again, if I can show it on the camera. Okay. As you can see, so flat on the pickup. Okay, listen to that. But it's moving slightly. The problem is, now when I go to the other end, to this end, and I do the same. Okay, I'm trying to keep flat the pickup against the body, put the measuring. This one still doesn't rub, although it's very small. I can feel there's a very small gap left. To the point that I, just for shits and giggles, let me try to put another 1/4 mil halfway. Okay, so more like, I don't know, obviously you won't be able to see because it's black on black on black, but mostly half of the way. That way I'm lifting just one end higher. I'm gonna measure my bottom string. Sorry to be covering the camera, but it's kind of hard to do this. See, hear that? That would be too much, in fact, because that is actually lifting up the string. Let me try again. Oh, I believe, in fact, let me triple check. I believe this wrench is the same gauge all over. And let me triple check that. So this is, okay, it's 1.5 mil. Okay, slightly more than 1.5 mil on the base, on the bottom, if you will. but the handle, because it has a hole, not for any other reason, the handle is slightly thinner. That's weird. Although we're talking a smidgen thinner. Let's see what the manual says about the height, just to remind myself. Okay. Here. Clearance gauge. The individual pickup height must be adjusted so that the clearance between each string and the divided pickup is 1.5 mil, 0.06 inches, when the highest fret is fingered. You see, it's good to read the manual. The clearance gauge supplied with the GK-3B is 1.5 mil thick. Place the gauge between the strings and the divided pickup as shown in the figure below, then check and adjust the height. But says between each string and divided pickup when the highest fret is fingered. That means that we're doing something wrong. Well, not we, you are not doing anything wrong. So I am doing something wrong. So let's start from scratch, shall we? Let's remove all the shims. Because now, once again, pick up, center where it should. Okay? Remember, center between the A and D string. That goes your notch in the middle, fairly in the middle, right? I given from granted that this pickup is perfectly perpendicular to the strings. That's why I'm leaning towards it, and it doesn't really look twisted to me, not from here. And let's measure again, shall we? So the problem now is doing this on our own. So your highest fret, fretted as you would play it, not more. And then this distance is almost half. Well, not half, but it's slightly smaller. Let's try it with the other end. So remember that the radius on the pickup is set, so what we care about is about the ends. And this one also has less, obviously less of a distance, but very, very small, because the bigger movement on the string is towards the middle, towards the bridge and the knot. The vertical movement of the string towards the body is very, almost negligible, but it's still important. So let's go back again with the 1 mil shim. Put it there. Check your centering. And this is when it gets tricky, because I can see it's lifting one side. So more or less, I'm going to use my pinky to try to hold both. Still a lot of room here, and almost perfect on the G string end. So once again, let's get a 4 mil and slide it in between. Gonna slide it all the way to see. Remember that we needed 1.5 4 mil shims there before we were fretting down. Sorry if I can see, but if you can't see exactly what I'm doing, because it's really, really hard to fret. Hold the pickup and feel. This is too low, so a whole 4 mil would not do. Let's go with half. which is basically this much, half quarter mil, meaning that this end, the G-string, is slightly perfect. It needs, I could compensate but a eighth of a turn on this bridge to get it at slightly higher, right? What about this end now? This one is 1 1/4 mils. This is still too high. This is too high. This is too high. This is too high. This is almost perfect. To make it perfect, as I said, I could give it a little touch to the bridge, but this is still too high. So I'm gonna remove the 1/4 inch, put it aside, and go for another 1 mil. Sorry, not 1/4 inch, 1/4 mil. Trying to work in two. Are you gonna do that? There we go. Don't do that. I'm fighting all sorts of things. So remember, we still have a 1 mil down here. So let's put another 1 mil halfway, or as deep as we will need, which I don't really like, for things I will comment in a second. Basically, it's making the pickup not sit properly, but height-wise is still not enough. So technically, to make everything balanced, yeah, I would say that now so 2 mil is too much, even on the bottom, on the low end. So let's start doing maths. If 1 1/4 is not enough and 2 is too much, what shall we do? I'm gonna go wild and get 1 and I'm taking away the extra 4 mil. Gonna go 1 3/4. That's why they only give you 4 of 1/4 mil, because 4 of them is the same as 1 of this. So once again, try to align them as good as you can and do your best to switch them underneath the pickup. And let's measure again. Put it in the right center. So how bad is on the treble? Very bad. That's too high. And how bad is in the bass? Very high. So let's remove another 1/4. So if anything, is gonna be 1 1/2 mils. So let's remove one of the 1/4 mils. So now we have 1 mil, 1/4, that's 1 1/2 mil shimming. Okay, put it in the center. Remember that notch on between the strings, right? And let's go back to measuring. No, this is too much, but this is when this end is not gonna be enough. No, in fact this end is quasi perfect. So, decisions. I can try and put half a jig, because where does it get too much? So we said that the G string is too low, the D string is too low, obviously the A string is perfect, and the E string is perfect, and the B string is perfect. So I got 2 strings too low, 3 strings fine. You know what, for simplicity's sake, and because, yeah, I'm gonna take the decision. I'm gonna go for this 1 1/4. Sorry, 1 1/4, 1 2/4. Yeah, 1 1/2 shimming, for one single reason, and then I'm gonna compensate by lifting my strings. Okay, so as you can see, the back of these shims are stickable, they're gluable. Okay, so let's remove the shims I'm not using just yet. Okay, so I'm gonna make a sandwich. All right, brought this little microfiber cloth to try and remove a little bit of the grease of touching it, because we're gonna stick on top of it. And in the meantime, I want to read this thing in the manual who says, okay, adjust the height of the pickup, insert the supply spacers under the pickup until it is the required height. Do not remove the backing from the tape yet. There are 3 types of pickup: 3 mils, 1 mil, 4 mil. Combine this as necessary to achieve the proper pickup height. The pickup height should be set so that the clearance between the strings and the pickup is approximately 1.5 between the top and bottom strings are pressed at the highest fret, we just did, in this case 24th. Adjust the number of spacers while confirming the clearance with the included 1.5 mil thickness clearance jig present. Okay, if the top and bottom strings height differ greatly, when the highest fret is fingered, compensate by adding the appropriate half length or 1/3 length spacers until the clearance for both strings is the same. In the top, what? If the top and bottom strings height differ greatly, when the highest fret is fingered, compensate by adding the appropriate half length or 1/3 length spacers until the clearance for both strings is the same. When using an archtop base, put the pickup cushions under the pickup spacers. Okay, that means that I need to learn, because we have these things here. Okay, this, well, you can see these ones because they're white. It's like very small, sticky. I wouldn't call it, doesn't even feel like plastic, it's more like stickers. And this is what. Okay, that means I need to go back to the build of materials to learn what is what. So this is your cushions. These are your cushionings, these neoprene segments. Why for, I still don't know. Okay, so these 3 double-sided tape are there for the control unit if you want to stick it to the body, which I rather not, mostly because I don't really have much room. Okay, so this is off the table, and then these are 2 double-sided strips of tape, the divided for installing the divided pickup. Okay, so no, we don't have pre-cut thirds or half sheens, but it says basically it grant us permission to trim the spacers to taste, in a way of speaking. That's gonna be weird. So the pickup comes with his own double tape, sorry, his own sticky tape. Cool. And all the spacers have them as well. So since the cushionings claim to be for arc tops, I guess it's to allow the placement where the pickup sits here would be flat, thanks to the neoprene. I'm going the other way. Thanks to the neoprene, it would become slightly curved. Thanks to the neoprene, I'm assuming, I'm riffing off right there. I'm assuming. But what I learned from my 6-string is that I might want to use this. Let's not do it. Let's follow the book this time only. So that would mean that I got 2 choices. Stick with the 1 2/4 sheen I was using. Okay. 1 mil and 2 1/4, and then I can compensate my strings, because we're talking minutiae. It's like quarters of a millimeter. It's really nothing in the big scheme of things. Compensate my strings to the bridge once it's set, because I don't really like to start chopping this, because it would create gaps in between. Although that could be good, because in fact the 1/4 inches are thicker, are wider, because it's not a bad thing that there's some sort of padding isolation between the pickup and the body, so the lower harmonics of the body would not trigger the pickup. That's why I'm thinking about the neoprene strips, to give it a cushion, because I have not enough room to use the springs to make the pickup float, to be hanging on the air basically. How thick is the neoprene stuff? Well, once a squish, it's exactly the same as a 1/4. But only one is squished. And obviously they're not going to be squished. You know what? I'm going to go for that, yes. Basically, I'm going to put... Oh. No, it does stick. Because I'm thinking, is it going to stick to it or not? It does stick, does it? Yeah, this sticks to this, and this sticks to this. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. So 1 less 1/4 inch out. So because this is slightly wider, obviously this is black on black. So here with the light. There. It's, I don't know, less than 1/4 inch wider. The 1/4 inch thickness is less than 1/4 inch wider. So I'm gonna put that on the bottom. Therefore, am I clumsy or what? Yeah, my floor is not black. I just missed it. Okay. Thank God I got more. So, let's take another 1 mil. The other 1 mil. Right? Yeah, because it's 3 1 1/4. 3 1. Yeah, so this is a 1 mil. Still slightly narrower than the 1/4 mil. Therefore, there goes nothing. So, peeling. Okay. Centering, very, very careful. Let's make it even and center as it can be. And sticking it. Okay. So now my pickup now is 1 mil higher. All right. Peeling. Okay, careful with that. 1/4 inch. Same. The whatever excess I have on anything, I'm trying to put it on the bottom side away from. That way I might be able to keep a sharper look or flatter, squared alignment with the standard pickups looks like. What is this looking like? Huh. Something weird there. Okay. Once again, align. See that I'm not making it touch, so I can align it with my fingers. And when I feel confident or happy with the alignment, now I press it down all through. So now it's 1 1/4 inches taller. Just for shits and giggles, let's give it another double check to see how far away I am, in case I change my mind about the neoprene. Let me get this out and get this out in the garbage disposal. So we might not need to do that. Triple check, roughly centered, align with the pickup. So okay, so that is already too low, but now it's this one that is not low enough. So obviously I need more height at this end, that's for sure. So I'm gonna go neoprene, and in fact, sorry, the least finger grease you put onto this sticker material, alright, this goes in the bin. The better and longer it will stick. So Remember, this is the end I wanted. I don't want it here. I'm sticking the sticker in the shim with the non-sticky side of the neoprene. Center and go for it. In fact, well, yeah, that's why, because they all come in the same strip, so to remove only one, I need to do this, which I don't like. Huh. I don't like, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, don't do that. Keep everything covered, so you need to double measure. Or I'm not totally sure if I want one or two. You know what? I'll just reassess the strings. So technically, once you do that, let's say this is the height I'm gonna commit to. Okay, this is the height I'm gonna use. Don't peel it yet, like I did. That was a mistake. Put it to one side, because now we need to put all the tools to one side. We need to get the strings off the guitar, okay? To make everything neater and to be able to clean the space there. Shouldn't take too much because this is top loaded. Should be very, very quick and easy. Okay. Right. The good thing about bass strings compared to guitar strings is that even when they're out, it's almost impossible to confuse one with the other. There's so much material in there that the difference is evident to sight, but even more evident to the touch. Okay. Also, another thing that, in my opinion, was a mistake on Fender's part is changing from the Cluson split head machines to the hole through shaft that everybody uses nowadays. Because the ability of poking your string in the shaft of the head machine, then that 90-degree on the groove and spinning around, it's really, really something you want. And second, it's almost like locking tuners. It's as safe and tuning stable as almost as locking tuners. But hey, I understand why they do it on bass. There's many reasons, mostly for string changing. But I would like to have it also on my guitars. And you said, oh, then buy Cluson vintage tuners. Yeah, many guitars don't look right on those. Many guitars wouldn't even fit those because of imperial versus metric incompatibilities, and I don't want to just break my brain trying to find washers or shimmers or stuff to make it fit just to get that extra advantage. But if Goto ever does a modern ratio, that's the other point. Clusons have a very vintage, very low ratio on the gears. So tuning up is not as fun as modern tuners with higher ratios. Or lower ratios, I don't know, what would you call that? Because you want more machine head spins than shaft spins, way more. I think many modern ones are talking about 20 to 24 ratio to 1. And I think vintage were something around 18 or 19 to 1. Or once again, don't quote me on that. Google it, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. I would love to hear from you, just to know you're there. Okay, strings are out. Microfiber cloth. in these areas mostly dust we're trying to remove, not so much finger grease, but dust. The dusty end of the bass guitar. Okay. Remember the centering, which obviously we're gonna do thanks to the saddles themselves, or in this case the ball pieces. And what I'm going to do is center, remember, A and D, find the center. Sorry to put in the middle. Now I'm gonna just put down, this is the middle, looks like the middle to me. Alright, feel it by hand that the distance seems to be the same. Now by bending this, I'm touching down. Okay. And that should be it. Let me press hard everywhere. Roland claimed that the adhesive substance used in all these stickers are removable and without traces or damaging to the finish. I have never pulled one off, so I don't know how true that is. But I might find out if I botch this installation in any way. I think I want my cable to go under the bridge away. Although my 6-string is wired above the bridge, because I have more bottom boot down there. So now we get to the real tricky and the decision taking part of the guitar, because the way you install this, I'm thinking, I'm changing my mind every second, because if I do it like this, because I think in fact this is where I have it. Is it here? No, I think I have it here on the other one, but my cable would go like that, just to burn more cable on the routing. Because this cable excess, it's meant to go, okay, lightning, illumination, in that circular gap. You're meant to coil it inside and just leave out whatever you need. So I think it just in order to be different, to have been tried both systems, I think I'm gonna go here and here. Okay, let's start with the hardware first, because that might inform my decision. So the mounting hardware is this. Okay, let's put this to one side. This 3 pieces of metal. This is gonna go clank. See, it's metal. Technically, there's 2 ways to attach the pickup. You can use this piece, okay, because this is exactly the shape of the control unit. You can see it aligns pretty well, right? As long as you have enough room on the face of your guitar to put it in. I don't think I have. So for that contingency, they provided you with this other plate, which also fits the control unit. I'm gonna put it in the hole so it doesn't bulge up. Right, goes flush to it. Also controls the unit, fits the unit, but these two brackets allow to float the unit on your bridge area. Contrary to the guitar version, the guitar version gives you a middle strap button hook to the plate of the body if you want to float it. But on guitar units it's more likely to have extra wood behind the bridge that might be enough for the controller unit. So in my case, I think I rather go floating over the bridge. How would we do that? Is this kind of finger position. This side is padded with the same material as this piece. There's a little, the second layer of neoprene-ish type, technically not nitrocellulose finish damaging padding material. And you do it basically by attaching them like so, getting the finger in whatever room you have left in your body, in the not your body, your guitar's body, and then that would be the hang for your controller. So for that, first we need to attach these two things. Let me just go through the manual very quickly. Here we go. Attaching the controller, length of the pickup cable. Obviously I cannot adjust that until I know where am I gonna put it. Well, this also says that if you wish, you could even attach it back to the back of the guitar, which I don't see the point because I like touching and moving a lot the controls. But let me show you this for a second. So, oops, oh, that was a chair, I swear. So, this. Okay. Let me show you for a second. So those are three of the examples. Okay, I can get these things right, can I? That's as far as I can go. Okay, so either flat to the top of your body, or flat to the bottom, to the behind, to the back of the body, or the one underneath is using the mounting in reverse, and the third plate you can make it float over the bridge. And I think that's what I'm going to go for. Okay, so let's go back here. Right. So to do so, once again, we need to do this. Let me get to the point where it explains how to do that. Holder, 3 screws from the underside of the controller, then attach ours. So the way you attach this is, first I need to find the Allen wrench I had here a minute ago. Ooh, that's what you get when you're not organized with your tools. Funny, huh? Okay. That's not it. That's not it. I know you, so where did I put that Allen wrench? Aha. was hidden. I hid it myself. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not fun. Okay. Remove this Allen screw. In fact, the unit comes already with these two plates. These two plates joined. I separate them yesterday. So first of all, remove this. See, there's little grooves on the sides of this plate. Okay, that's where this inner plate goes. Come on. There. Alright, goes in those grooves. But let me check, cause there's more hardware to put afterwards, but everything comes from externally. So yeah, you can attach these first. Okay, just in, leave enough room so we can attach it. Ooh, something I didn't think of. Let me see about that. Once again, every step informs your next step, which is being conscious of the back of the guitar, because this is going right here behind. I need more space. Space, the final frontier. So let's make it even wider. Wider, wider. Oops, too much. Just one spin. Okay. Because that's where this thing goes. Okay. Because I need to make sure. Okay. Let me try and show you. Need to be sure, or at least try to be sure, because it will go lower, will it? But it seems not to be able to go higher. Oh, yes it can. Okay. This is what I was afraid of. These overlap. Meaning that if I ever need to, if it goes here, if I ever need to access the electronics for whatever reason, and in fact I think this one will need, I will have to remove the screws and be very gentle to slide it out, because it's not going to come up vertically. And yeah, that's all the room I have. I'm going to put it in higher. My second option, which I'm not so keen on, would be here. Okay. Alright, which is obviously makes everything clear. But do I really want this here? And then this is gonna come here. Right there. Why is this not? Why doesn't this convince me? Because once I put this on, as so, okay, it will have to float anyway. Because it's not liking it. Wait, now this goes here. Yeah. I will have the cable and the 1/4 inch going here, meaning that not that you do much palm muting on a bass guitar, but my palm muting area is basically blocked. I cannot get to the strings there. And also it's gonna be kind of awkward to try to play the bridge. And I can't have that. We can't have that. So I'd rather the other solution. It will make electronic repairs. Basically, will require to remove the controller unit, which is not that bad once it's all installed and stuff. I'll show you why. It's just removing. That's a good point. This might not actually work out. Let's try that and learn from our mistakes, shall we? So this is as high as it would be because this is already blocking my clearance. We want this part of the bracket as flush with the body. Don't be too worried, because although I cannot show you in the camera, this is felt, high quality black felt padding. So all the contact parts, this is neoprene-ish, this is neoprene-ish, this is felt. All the contact parts with the guitar are padded so it won't eat into your finish, and the boot after that. But yeah, I'm gonna say that this is my ideal position. It's flush to the body, it's flush to the surface. So while I'm holding it, I'm gonna pencil it down in case I change my mind when I start taking more decisions. Okay. Because of the padding, you don't need to go to town on or tightening this screw. So let's say finger tight and one more spin. Okay. This should not move whatsoever by normal use. If you're apprehensive like I am, quarter spin extra, this should not move. Okay. Now, do I want the wire around or the wire away? I think I'm gonna be more happy with the wire away. So let's see if I can do that by tucking and coiling this way. Okay, neat and gently, as much. I'm spinning the unit so I don't have to twist the cable. It goes on so much of a gentle spin as possible. Okay, put it all the way down to the bottom of the hole of the gap and keep coiling. Keep coiling. Keep coiling and pushing down. Kind of want one more spin would be ideal. Not sure I'm gonna manage. Okay. Doesn't like it, but hey, who's in charge? Who's the boss here? Yeah, it's not like it. It's just a quarter or two or half a mil poking out. Why am I doing this? Because the position, final position of the pickup is gonna be here, I think. Let me triple check. Yeah, it's not liking it. That I tell you. It's not liking it because it's not going flush into the plate. So let's remove that last extra spin that doesn't fit. Let's just stick to as much wire as the gap will take. Now the way you attach this one to this one back to your nice screwdriver is with this. You see there's 3 little marks in the plastic here, here and here. Those 3 screws can be removed. Give me the little plates so I don't lose them. Alright, so these 3 screws can be removed. Just keep the finger on the wire so it doesn't coil out. Alright, once again, better use these small for not so much for taking out screws but for putting them back in. Okay, I use the screws method because I don't want to damage the stickers and because it's the most structurally safe type. There's other more intrusive ways on obviously different guitars. This is not the case. For instance, I believe, you see, I don't know if you can see here, what am I showing? And you see here. So this is a through hole, okay? But it's designed for you to screw. Can you see it? Am I showing it? For you to screw the unit. You see? The screwdriver. To screw the unit to the top. So if you don't care or don't mind and you have enough room, you could just put it into the body of the guitar, screw it in position, bob's your uncle. Although even for that I would recommend to use the double-sided sticky, very small pads to put it there as well as the screw. That way you know it goes nowhere. Alternatively, you could just stick it to the flat of the body, or I'm going to check the manual any minute now to see I'm missing something to put here in between. So the method I like the most is to screw the unit to the plate, and then the plate can slide down to my liking on the unit, floating above the surface. Okay, so those 3 screws are out, ready to go. Let me triple check the manual. So it doesn't tell me to use, it tells me to use the cushioning. Okay, this. Oops, wait, it says here. Huh. Okay, why huh? Because this is a stick-on. It's a sticky tape, and this plate here is felt. So I don't think, and let me see how much higher does it make it. If I put this here, obviously what I'm making harder for myself doing all of this, it's access to the intonation screws on the back. Sorry. See, these, getting the screwdriver to intonate my strings here. Do I need to put this? What does Roland say about this? Okay, holder seal, makes contact with the strings, interferes with performance, attach the controller cushion. If holder C makes contact with the strings and interferes with performance, attach the controller cushion to holder C so as to lift holder C away from the instrument and prevent it from reaching the strings. First, insert the controller cushion between the base and the holder and determine a position that ensures that none of the strings vibration will be disturbed, then affix the cushion. So what I am going to do is first assess how much intrusion, because this is where it's going to get attached to the other pinchy side of the holders, the other holders. So very carefully, which is not going to be easy because this is kind of a heavy guitar, I want to see how much clearance. This way is going to be better, safer. How much clearance can I give it? Okay, I can see problems coming my way. Although, because this is my maximum clearance. Do I need a cushioning? Actually, this is gonna go away until. Not that my plate will touch the strings, not only because this type of bridge wraps around most of the string, but also because the height saddles will prevent it from happening. Oh my god, it's almost hanging over the... Yeah, I could have used with half an inch extra of wood at the bottom end. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for the cushion. So, but I want it to rest here instead of here. That way, if I need to move the intonation too much, which I shouldn't, that's why it's better that you attach the pickup to a guitar is already set up to your liking, because everything is roughly where it should. Yeah, but see, that's my point. Yes, it's gonna float a little too much. So this goes here, this goes here. Okay. And how I can remove this and this. Okay. Okay, let's do this in the right order, because first we need to attach the control unit to the plate with the 3 screws we removed already. Okay, so for that, take the plate. Whee! Told you I'm clumsy. Take the plate, align it where it should be, align the plate holes with the control unit holes, and start screwing. Hey, screwing. Screwdriver. Obviously we're gonna go first easy, as in a couple of turns, just to place it properly. Okay, and the third one. Okay, this is going nowhere. Now we can finger tight. Don't go over. There's no need. These things don't move at all, and the vibration they get is negligible. But be happy with it. Okay, just one. Doesn't make a difference the order where you screw them all. So
And this should go here. I'm changing my mind. Because I don't like this. This is too much on the string way. On the way to the strings, and I don't like the cable going that way. It would make much more sense this way. So I think, because now my problem is covering the control plate, but I think I prefer that. And that says in how much room do I have here, how much lower can I go. So let's try halfway there. So, sorry, that's not the way. Sorry. Undo this, just enough so it will slide. Or a little more if you are like me, a little apprehensive. Because more is more, we all know that. Yeah. It's not stuck, it's just compressed in place. So, let's try halfway, or a little lower than halfway. Finger tighten. Sorry, I'm covering everything. Okay, that should be it. And that will give me this much wiggle room. Yeah, the wire position is because it's, if you can see here, God, this screen is really bad for lighting. Okay, as you can see here, this is the angle where the cable comes out once it's installed. So it's kind of forcing me to have the cable on up around it, which is kind of good because that way we can pull a little bit of cable to do the whole thing. Because see, if I try that, you see, it does this basically. So basically it's gonna have the cable coil and twisted and unhappy, in a way of speaking. Although the whole build here is kind of unhappy because there's not enough wood down there. Wood, haha. I think I'm gonna try to move it smidgen more, smidgen. Yeah, my sync strings has a little bit more wood behind the bridge, a little more space. Wait. Yeah, and I think I still managed to move it. Okay. That's gonna be too much. Let's confirm it. Okay. Because now I'm getting in. Still, we need to go up with the cable, but I'm getting into I can barely use my controls territory. And thank God I'm not much of a control mover. But this is always compromises. So yeah, now let's put it back where it was. More like in the middle. Obviously this is all trial and error and getting used to it and put it into action, and once in the heat of the battle, then is when you actually see what works and what doesn't. And since you're not drilling or making any holes to the body, everything is undoable or movable. So somewhere in between, not all the way up as it was, no all the way down, that will block my controls, the access to my treble, in fact, my treble boost and cut, because this guitar is active, I have active electronics, therefore active. EQ. Okay. So, as I said, you can gently try to pull a little bit more wire because of the coiling, but we're gonna need way more wire than that. Okay, that's as much as I can pull out, and it's not enough. So, see what I mean? Nothing is set on stone, except for my clamp cylinders. That is set on stone forever. We know that. So, yes, I do need that screwdriver. That's why. Ooh, is that? No, of course it's not. This is the one that escaped before. Oy. Headphones. Okay, I'm going down. Wee. Sorry. Oy. Had to happen, hadn't it? Okay, let's see if I can do this. Doopy 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 doopy. What did I tell you? You come for the information, stay for the train wreck. And there's always tons of that train wreck on spades. The ones with very fine hearing would have heard our cat Ivar, which is complaining basically, which is what he does very often. Rather often. Yeah, I need that screwdriver. I'm sorry, but I do need that screwdriver. Particularly. Oh, headphones again. And it's off. And he's back. So where the heck? Come on. I know it's small, but be a good sport and go back with Papa. Yeah, I have a box with tons of unorganized trinkets, and that's exactly what it's gone. It has gone. Means that to get it back, it's a pendulum. Gotcha. do this again. Let's put this the other way. Rats. Okay. Okay, and we're back on the game. I just hope I don't do the same with the screws. Everything's where it has to be. Cool. Okay. Okay. You stay there. Come on. Let's put the screws safe. There. Okay. Let's uncoil this much cable. That way I can go all the way here, all the way here, and another spin. So this all the way, this all the way. Huh. If I do it like this, I don't have enough cable. God, this is weird. Huh, why would this be this like this? Huh. But if I put it here, okay, trying to call this as perfect as I can. So. Okay. So put it here. Plate is like this. Huh. It would be cool if I had the guitar version and I could attach it here. But this way I need to put it here. Yeah, cable wise is kind of problem is gets in the way of playing. Then the last option is doing this. Which basically eats away both my treble strings. But that's the way it's gonna have to be, isn't it? Because now the decision is how much wire to leave out. Yeah, because the screws are the ones limiting how can I attach this. Okay. So that's the way. This is the way. Oh, sorry, you can see basically this is a no-no. This can't be. No matter how high you float it, this can be happening. Uncoil off all of the cable. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can with this multi-core thingy. So that's all the cable out. With all the cable out, and this grip position. I guess I could do this, but once again, it's not. That's not the way. And why am I? What am I? Oh, that's the finger itself. I can do this, but I don't like this. And if I go this way, okay, I'm gonna have a break to have a thought and to see if by any chance any of you are around, which is no. Cool. I mean, no cool, but it's better than meeting your messages and making you think that I am ignoring you, which I'm not. I'm just trying to battle this thing. Because there's not enough wire to put it this way, which would be the ideal. I think that's the way I put it on the 6th string. But there's not enough wire to go around. Oh, possibly there is. Huh. I'll have to float it as high as it would go. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the way. And I'm not gonna use the cushioning. Because of this, the cushioning goes there. I need to be able to put my strings back. So I need some clearance and free access to it. So, sorry mate, not this time. So that's gonna be it. Okay, screws back in. Align, check, and gently screw in. Little turn, couple of turns. Okay, second screw. I told you I would screw it up. Wait, what? This is not. What? Why is this not? Yeah, that's the right screw. Why is it not gripping? Okay. Cable is totally flush. Now we're talking. Great. Yeah, the screw is kind of short, so there's not much a screw is gonna go in. Remember, finger tight, don't overdo it. and be safe and use the supplied screwdriver, so you will never. So yeah, this is gonna go as such, as high as I can make it, and that will take care of the wire. So now to attach this plate to this grip, we're gonna need split washer, 2 of them, which is basically hiding there. So split washers, 2 of them, normal washers, 2 of them, and bolt on hex head, mushroom head bolts. Yep, that's all we're gonna need. Let me remind myself the sequence, which is flat washer, spring washer, screw, right? So this is my assembly. Again, can you, Mama, can you hear me? Flat washer, split washer, and wait, that doesn't sound right. No, it is right. Okay, flat washer, split washer, a screw. Well, bolt, in fact, but hey, let's not get picky about it. And now is when it gets very, very tricky, because it's gonna get very, very tricky. All right, let's put that safe. Let's place this where it should, because cameras. So, can you see, Papa, can you see me? You have to align. Nope, nope. There you can see the plate, the grip, and the hole. So you need to put all that assembly into that hole. Which I'm not gonna be able to show on camera because it's really, really awkward. So, and this is delicate stuff, as in I could lose parts. Well, but you can roughly see it. So once you found the hole, same as always, give it a couple of spins so it's in, but don't tighten it just yet. And once again, bolt, split washer, and go for the second slot, which seems to be here. Whenever you find that a screw doesn't want to go in a threaded path, well, sorry, more like a bolt into a washer or threaded path, give it a full turn counterclockwise, as in losing, lefty-loosey, until you hear a tick, like that, and then you will be aligned with the right thread of it. Cool. Now it's holding. Now all I need is get this looser, and apparently this too, looser, so I can raise the plate as far as it would go. And I'm going to now do the proper tightening. Once again, finger tight is more than enough, that's why the split washer is there. Okay, don't go to town, because if you strip these bolts, you might not have a chance to fix it. So one extra oomph just for the split washer's sake. There. So now, as you can see, I got as much clearance to the bridge as I can, and in fact I made a mistake right there. Okay, so I'm gonna undo that in a second, but that's my target, getting the biggest amount of clearance I can give it, as in here between the bridge and the bottom of the plate, because although this doesn't really wiggle too much, we're gonna need it. And because of the height, well, still the controls are still doable, so that's the right position. What mistake did I just do? Remember that I said that I would get the right string height by compensating the string action? That's what I forgot. I can do it now because now my height adjustment screws are hidden by the pickup. So I'm gonna take the pickup out again, now that I had it so nicely fit there. Okay. So I can do the string adjustment properly. And obviously we're gonna need the strings at this point, now that the pickup position is mostly right. I can see it's almost bang on this line, on the middle line in between the saddles. It's fairly parallel. Let's string it up and set the action, the final action for the guitar. Just out of, I don't know, because it's easy to go from thickest to thinnest. That's the order I'm gonna follow on restringing the guitar. Obviously this pickup makes guitar changing harder, and in fact, yeah, because it's not gonna hold anyway, I can do this later. I need to attach the cable to the body. Well, no, it's not that I need, it's that I want to attach the cable to the body. So, okay, I try to do this with the bowl. Wait, in fact, is this bridge the right one to do this? No, that's, yeah. Now, if you can see, you probably can see. So instead of having the bowl, instead of having the bowl parallel to the body, I give it a little slant, right? Well, if this is the bowl, that would be, this is the bowl. Okay, instead of make it parallel to the body, I give it a little slant because of the design of this bridge, because that, in that space that I make by tilting it, is exactly where my intonation screw is, and I need to be able to access that. So it's better to get the bowl instead of flat on a 45 angle. Plus that's the shape of the kink that it already has, which helps a lot. Those kinks on bass guitars are very, very useful and very important, because could be the difference on having a intonatable guitar or not. Okay. Checking that everything goes where it should. Okay. Floppy, because, let's give it one tension turn. Obviously the neck now is back bowed, so when and it needs the tension to come flat again. That's why I'm not gonna just height until everything is back in tune. It's in the right amount of pressure. With every guitar, but with electric guitars in particular, because of the extra tension and because they put tools to allow you to do so, it's important to get the guitar set up when the guitar is perfectly in tune, because you need the right amount. It's like a war bow, like an arrow and bow. You're applying tension to the wood, therefore tension to the string, therefore the wood will also move. Okay, so this is gonna get feisty, but not too much. Okay. Check that the wrappings around the bed head go down in the post, in the shaft. Okay. Let's give it one tension turn. Okay. And you displace the strings, keep falling down to the ground. There. Okay. As I said, it's really easy to know which one is which. Even if you don't use the Dario strings with colored balls or even rotor sounds also come with colored balls, albeit only three colors, which is helpful but not, because the difference in gauges is so noticeable that it's obvious which one is which. Come on, I thought I was doing it right and I do it wrong. I did it wrong, then I'm doing it right again. There you go. Why would you want the windings to go down towards the headstock instead of above? In these tuning pegs, because it would basically go loose out of the post, out of the shaft, but also because it will increase the break angle on the nut, and you want that to prevent strings slipping from the nut in the case of flat headstocks, as in not angle headstocks, and also increases the intonation accuracy and might change your tuning and your intonation if the angle is too shallow, or at least make it unstable, which is nothing you want. As in, before the first song everything was in tune and it was sounding nice, but then after the fifth song everything sounds like I can't even play because it's out of tune or misintonated. And trust me, intonation is crucial when you're handling bass guitar, because the frequencies you're handling, I mean, if you have an A 440 hertz, 400 vibrations per second, if that string goes 442 or 446, few people might be able to tell in the heat of the battle. But when your A string, your bottom A, is more like 60 hertz, going 62 hertz, it's almost sharp, it's almost F sharp. So that is more noticeable to do. Because remember that the pitch scale of every string instrument and human hearing is not linear but logarithmic. increases in uneven amounts the higher you go. In fact, you should know, if you don't already, that each octave doubles the frequency of the previous. Once again, if you have an A pitched at 440 Hertz, you're one octave higher. Where am I going? No, this. The next octave up would be 880 Hertz, and the next octave 1600. You see, the gaps are doubling instead of adding, and so do every other note in the scale. Okay, treble string is the one. That takes a little more because since it fits more, I give it more turns in the peg head. Once again, the more turns you give it in the peg, in the tuning machine, the steeper the break angle on the nut, and the more stable the tuning of the string. It won't slip out of tune. Oh, that did slip. Okay. So I'm gonna do the tuning off camera, same as the putting the strings, because my tuner is off camera. And trust me, you need a tuner for bass, because even if you have very young ears with very high hearing power, these frequencies differences are usually not loud enough to hear unamplified, so rather have a tuner. Let's see, this is probably sharp. Although it's not telling me the octave. Wait. Yeah, this is a little flabby. So. Okay, that's gonna be E. G. A. If you have a bass guitar where the pickup doesn't cover your intonation and you don't need to touch it and stuff, you don't need to put this back into pitch, but that's not my case, so it's gonna take longer. Wait. Yeah. B, C. And here we go. Yep, same octave. And let's go for G. Okay, now the neck has more tension. The bottom B is gonna be 2 bottom. Here we go. Okay, and so the rest of the strings also go down. Remember the analogy with a bow and arrow, with the war bow. The higher tension on the string, the more the wood bends. Therefore everything becomes different. And since I'm increasing the tension 5 times, having the whole guitar in tune becomes a moving target. For those who don't know, always remember on non-locking guitars, as in they don't lock the strings, always tune increasing the tension for tuning stability or endurance. Because if you tune decreasing the tension, something very funky happens in the nut where it gives you a poor reading. Wait, see, I'm going extra low. Wait, why is this? Okay, that makes more sense. It gives you a bad reading because tension gets accumulated in the plastic of the nut until you start playing. Then with the vibration of the string, that accumulated tension releases either gradually or instantly, and your string suddenly is out of tune. So if you go by increasing the tension only, that doesn't happen. That's why. So, but if you use a locking system, a string locking system, flat wounds or extremely good cut nut on a very clean and smooth material, either bone or fake bone. Almost there. One more time. It should not happen, or happen very, very rarely. But who wants to take the risk when you go on stage? So let's just tune up. Come on, boys and girls, tune up. So this is roughly where it's gonna be tune-wise, which is roughly where I need it to be for string height-wise. Once again, we're gonna triple check that this, see, it's very, very minute, but it's resisting me to get in. So it just needs a tiny little bit of height. This is not the right tool to do so, because I'm gonna use a Torx type screwdriver. But it's either this, or you wait until I go and get the right tools. Let me see if this is this number. No. Because the setup of this, of the height in this bass, is a 1 mil hexagonal wrench, which roughly equals to a T6 Torx tool. Okay, it's loose, so don't overdo it. Be gentle and be smooth with it, but it will do the job. So I think I'm gonna go just, let me get some reference measuring. I'm gonna just go in half a turn, so tighty, righty tighty, so it would go up. On bass guitar, it's important to get the saddles parallel to the body instead of on an angle with the body. Okay, so both tuning screws need to be at the same height. Vibration, transference, sustain, and stuff. That's the reason. Oh wait, this forgot to do this, so it needs to go even higher. So a little bit more. Another quarter or half a turn. Quarter turn. Just a quarter turn. Or an eighth of a turn. There. I'm gonna get picky about it. I'm gonna go just a 16th of a turn more, because now it's almost perfect, but it's still gripping on it. So remember to put the tool flat on the pickup and then just slide over this. And now it's clearing completely. Let's keep it there. Now let's see what we get on the bottom. Yeah, this needs to go up as well. So I'm gonna go half a turn. And another half a turn. And quarter turn. Or eighth turn, in fact. Remember always to fret the 24th in this case. Perfect. It's touching the string, but it's not moving the string. Let's check the other ones, although I don't have much to. Yeah, this also can do with a little bit more like an eighth of a turn. Yep, like it. Next. This in fact is too high, but I don't want to put it lower because it might buzz on my frets. And the second it's doing. So let's just start with half a turn. I'm spinning the screwdriver because I want to have to know which side is going, to know where is half a turn. So I don't do it too much or too much. Yeah, like it. It's touching the string, but it's not moving the string. Cool. So that should be it. I'm gonna tune again, because when you increase the height, you also increase in the tension. So now the strings I touch should be out of tune. And as I said, first I'm gonna put them all down a lot. And now I'm gonna tune up. Yeah, that was too much. D sharp, E, and any guitar of any type will never be tuned the first time you go around. So in fact this is A, this is an A note, so G sharp. So basically my rule of thumb is I keep tuning in the same succession, as in the same order, until I get 2 rounds of perfect, or as perfect as it would go, tuning. So this is gonna be a D, so C sharp, D, E, F, and G. Too much. Okay, so now I know that my B is gonna be off by almost half, by almost 50 cents. Okay, now E again. So when you're approximating tuning, getting a little higher, and by a little I mean 2 to 5 cents, it's no big deal, because the torsion, the bowing of the neck will compensate on the next round. So it might even be helpful to do so. Although a lot of people, and I tend to agree, the proper way to tune your guitar is in playing position, because now it's horizontally on the table. Almost nobody plays like this. Although, do any of you remember Jeff Healey band? He played on his lap. So, but for everybody else who use the guitar hanging on your neck, basically the the most accurate tuning time is when you hang it or put it standing, so the vibration goes parallel to the guitar instead of now it's going, it basically is going all over. It's going to try sideways and up and down at the same time, which is slightly inaccurate. Okay, so yeah, I got it mostly in tune, or at least very close enough to go back to install the pickup. So now I have the hexaphonic at the right height. Now I can put the control module back where it's meant to go. I can put this away because I shouldn't need it anymore. Also, changing your string height changes your intonation, so, but that's something I can do on my own at a later date. So get back to the screws and washers, align this with these holes. Put it in just loose. Well, doing this today this way is teaching me how delusional I am, thinking that I could have pulled it off and do it on the 2-hour stream of the Friday. Yeah, not gonna happen. Not with me on command. Yeah, so make sure it's on the right height, which in this case is all the way up. Finger tight, plus 1 extra oomph. But a small oomph, don't hang on it. Now, what are we gonna do with this cable? The beautiful people of Roland gave us this little contraption, yeah, this way and this way, okay. Now, there, that's it. Which is a clamp, okay, a clamp for wires. When I put this together, it will clamp in position. And it's meant to be, in fact, I'm gonna do it the other way around for one single reason. Can you, if I put it the other way around, Okay, you see, the clamp itself prevents me to put it close to the bridge. So if I put it this way around, being aware that it needs a little clearance to hook in itself, okay, and because they only give you two, I'm gonna put it roughly here in the middle of it. How am I gonna put it? It is designed to put a screw through it, which is not provided, by the way. No. Which would be a very, 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 very short boot screw. Okay, flat head if you have it or something. Or you just can build a sticker and stick it down. And that's what I'm gonna do. Because I already just stuck the pickup instead of screwing it down through the holes. I didn't mention it, but at the both ends of the pickup there are holes which are meant for the provided screws. There you go, here. Provided screws to mount the screws and the springs, so you would make the whole pickup float on the air and have no contact or very rough contact with the body. But obviously you need string space, which in this particular case I don't have, and I don't want to have, because I'm aware of bass players who put the strings so high they would allow for them to use the springs and the screws. I'm not that type of player. I need strings very, very, very close. So I'm gonna put it sideways in the middle, close to the bridge, but not enough so the okay, it's very hard to see and to show that thing there has a little, okay, are you gonna, kind of a nail, a little bit of a dimple. That's where the clamps in. So if I put it too close to the bridge, the clamp is not gonna go in. So I needed to put it a mil higher than the bridge to allow for wiggle room. So I'm gonna take this stick out. Once again, everything is stickable. So everything that is stickable could be unstuck in the future if required. Obviously you're gonna lose your sticky substance, but better than not being able to get it back. So yeah, well, I'm gonna clean a little bit the area, because that could have some grease, some skin grease, not any other type of grease. And I bullet, middle, parallel, away, stick it down, put my cable through it, see, bend it over, and wait for the, no, it's not doing it, come on, you can do it, oh, it's not doing it, it should do a click when it's good to go. Okay, it's not doing it, so I'm gonna push it right where it closes. Well, it's done it, huh? And that's what secures your cable going around. So, I have another one, and I hate hanging cables. So, let me see if I got enough room. The right spot. Seems like I do have enough room on the right spot. Let's find out the hard way. Oh, I think I broke the sticker there. Okay, peeling, trying to peel. And that's me with a little bit of fingernails. I usually trim them to play better. Well, in fact, no, this right hand rarely lives with any fingernails, because even if it's just for plug-in sake, fingernails are very helpful. So yeah, it's gonna go right behind this screw. It's gonna float a bit, but hey, what can you do? Oh, just put it just a smidgen lower. Okay. Now this should go there. And again, it's not playing ball. Obviously, it's a no-no that the cable gets loose enough to be able to touch the strings. That would create buzz or just loss of sustain, because it would stop the string from vibrating, basically. Okay, why are you not playing ball? It's because you don't have enough room, is it? Enough room for the clamp to go and grab the divot, the dimple. Aha, I heard a click. This time I did hear the click. So it's closed. So 1 anchor, 2 anchors, cable is away. It should be away. Huh, this could be on... I might have to remove this or replace it, because it could be on the way of my intonation. Damn it. Oh well. So, but we got a vibrating guitar with a GK-3B tucked into it. Okay, let me see how bad to play is it. I could even do palm mutes. Okay, controls are reachable. They're not totally blocked. I should have not gained any buzzings that I didn't have before, because I raised a little bit all the strings, which I'm just checking right now how much. Well, I got a decent amount of relief on the neck. Yeah, those are round ones. No, I don't feel anything strange when playing. Huh, that makes me think. The amount of screws I have here... Oh, sorry, I misspoke. Remember I said that the control unit had a hole to screw it on the top of your guitar? It is provided. It's this little flat-headed baby. Okay, no, this way, not this way. What about this? Yeah, this little baby here. This is small, because then the other 2 remaining parts are the dome head screws, which are meant for the springs to screw your pickup to the body. And that and a bunch of shins and neoprene, that's all you have left, and the sticky tapes, although I still don't understand why is this for, because the pickup itself already comes with a double-sided tape, so I don't know why would you need these ones. So let me go through the manual to make sure I didn't miss any step. We didn't end up using the cushioning because it would get on the way of changing my strings. Just triple checking the book. Touching with double-sided tape and screw. Yep. That's what I already explained. Connect the GK-3B. That is easy. So the last step to do, which I'm not going to do because it implies, in my case, soldering, which is not a big deal, but I need to go to a different room to do so, or bring all the soldering gear in this room, which I'd rather not do, if you don't mind. Would be basically adapting this patch cable, which as is would look like this. So that is what they suggest you do. So it's way more slack that I'm comfortable with, and I don't like this poking thing. So I'm gonna basically trim it down loosely, as in don't make it too tight, until, and put a 90-degree angle jack connector into this cable. Or I could just build a completely new cable with better connections, because come on, this is what, a £2, £1.50 patch cable, if any, probably 50p. It's not the best quality ever, but once again, you only have to technically plug it once and forget about it. That's the other reason why I'd rather have it flat, so that way I can leave it if I want, but I don't. I'll explain in a second. I could leave it just plugged and would go flash and would go inside a case or any gig bag I want to go. Why don't I do that? I still remove the patch, because an active bass guitar will turn on the preamp as soon as it sees a jack connected into the jack, into the female, the chassis connector, right? So if I leave that patch there constantly, it's gonna be draining my battery twice as fast, or God knows how much faster. So I just rather to detach it when in transport, take it away, put it when I'm gonna be playing, and then all my signal comes from the 13 pin. I don't see anything on the manual that requires to do anything else. If I do, I will tell or show or do an amending video. But that is it. That's your GK-3B install. Well, there's one step that I kind of did roughly, but it's more important on the next stage of the setup, because in order to get the best performance out of 55, he wants to know the distance between, and in fact, well, why, yeah, let's do it now. Let's do it now and show it. I just need a pen. I just need a pen because I got a notepad right here. Let's find a blank. All right, let's get a pen. Here we go. So, ooh, okay. Now I see I made another mistake here. Yeah, let's do it. Why not? So basically, and we're in mils, yes. Okay, so let me show you what are we aiming for. We aiming for let me find it for you. Oh wait, no, it might not be there. Might be. That's your height. See, that's the way. Wait, I missed it.
No, well, sorry. I can get my shit to get there. That's the way you're meant to have your gauge set, okay? Touching flat the top of the pickup and flat, just barely touching, rubbing, not moving the string. That's your height, that's the 1.5 mil string spacement while you're pressing down your highest fret on your neck, which in this case is 24th. If you have a bass style guitar, it might be your 21st or 22nd. Okay? But what I'm after right now is in this. Okay. Good night. No. No. Oops. Okay. So from the bending point on the top, the contact point of the string in the bridge, and the bottom side of the pickup, you would have to measure that distance per string. All right? There. Which is basically, this is the mistake I did, because now I'm covering 2 of my strings, so I cannot measure it, right? That's gonna be better. But I can show you how to do it in the other 2. Remember that my contact point on my saddle is not on the upper edge of the saddle, but 1 mil in the saddle. Okay, that's why I'm doing this. So, okay, so this is roughly, let's call it 2.6 mil. Let's fix it there so I can do this. 1.03 inches, right? And I'm just going to write it down. If you have to redo or readjust your saddle for your intonation's sake, and it's, let's call it 1/10 of a mil or 1/2 mil or something like that, I don't think, I can't remember right now, but I believe GR55 only accepts 1/2 mil increments, as in 0.5 mil increments. So anything in between 0.1 mil and 1.4 mil difference doesn't really matter, because you cannot actually input it into the system. So I'm gonna so 6 string, gonna write down, it has a pickup distance of, sorry, I need mils, I'd rather have mils. Why 26? Okay, let me reassess this. Okay, 0. Yeah, roughly, I'm gonna call it 27.5 mil. 27.5 mil. And then you would do the same thing with every string, basically. Easier of measurement, I'm gonna do it like this. That way I can rest. Or can I do this? Okay. So
This asks me for 23.98, so it's gonna be a 24 mil measurement. So, sorry, that was my 5 was 27, my 4th string, although in fact is B string, 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, because that's the industry, the nomenclature for bass guitars. Lingo, huh? So this one is 24. And the last one I can measure right now. Once again, back to 0. Okay. It's really hard because light. So yeah, it's a little bit less, because in this string I can totally see the touch point. 2270, so I'm gonna go for 23. So my 3rd string is 10 to 23. Obviously it's gonna take me a while because I still need to reassess my intonation since I move the height of the string, so I might have to wiggle half a mil or just a mil or a tenth of a mil up and down, and then I'll reassess the distances again, I'll remeasure it. But that's the way you do it basically. You need to, as I showed in the graph, measure between the closer side of the pickup, and the contact point of your string. That's the area. I assume 55, and I think some previous Roland models would ask for that, so they can apply harmonic content filter to the magnetic vibration, and to know how much to apply, because the farther away we get from the bridge, the more low range harmonics we get, as in not more of them but louder of them, so they start masking the treble and the fundamental. So I assume 55 and the other models who ask you for the bridge distance have some sort of filtering compensation algorithm to say the farther you are, how much do I need to ignore the lower range harmonics and just focus on the rest of the harmonics that come my way. Because this pickup M55 has real-time pitch and technically timbre, although I don't think you can use timbre as modulation in 55, could be wrong, as parameters for the performance of the synth, both the Cosm and the Rumpler, the sample-based dual engine in the unit. And that is it. That's how you install a GK-3B on a standard this time. Sadly, it's just a standard 5-string guitar. If you have any questions, or if you know that I did something wrong, please tell me. Write it down in the comment section. I'll read them all and I will reply to them all. Can't tell you when, but I will, don't worry. And please come back next month on March, yes, on March, first Friday of March, which I think is either 6th or 7th, can't remember, or 5th, can't remember, for the regular content. And please come around and join our Discord, okay? We do all the chatting and questioning over there. We're very welcoming, we're very nice to everybody, and we're hoping that you join us. Okay? Thank you very much. That is it. Froze it out. Bye bye.